Just how can one of us love someone like the deep and the other one find him so woefully shallow?
They really are trying to humanize Homelander, but is someone so terrible even redeemable?
Red and Red Real Reviews does their civic duty to break down the fifth and final season of The Boys on Amazon Prime.
I knew within the first 5 minutes I was going to hate it, but then it was so bad. Ugh.
Nobody wants this. Like
Literally nobody wants this.
Internet's gonna get mad at me for this one. There's no fat elf. You know.
Duty, which I can't say without laughing. Duty, like I'm English.
John B and Sarah are, I mean, I don't want to sound like a loser for saying this, but they're adorable. I'll admit it. Welcome back to the latest Red and Red Real Reviews. And this show, it, I feel like this has been on ice for a little bit. It kind of had a bit of a hiatus. And
Yeah.
and I feel like from when it started to now, it's kind of lost a bit of its public luster. But since the first couple seasons, but alas, it is still time to bid the boys adieu. Before we get into it, let us know what you think of the podcast as a whole and shows you think we should cover. Email us redandredrealreviews@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at Red and Red Real Reviews. That is the letter N, real spelled with two E's. So I want to set the record straight off of our last episode because you have a tendency to frame me as someone who lives under a rock with a lot of these shows. I was on this show there, like either on time or within a year of it debuting, and I watched the first two seasons pretty religiously, and then it was something of I don't know where I kind of fell off of it just because of I don't know whether it's
Oh,
general life busyness or kind of too many. Oh, I know what message they're trying to put in with that moment, like a little bit of eye roll. So I had
yeah.
kind of drifted off of this show for a little while, and that's what forced my catch-up mode for the middle two seasons.
Okay. I thought for some reason that you had to catch up on literally 4 seasons. So
No,
I didn't remember that you had watched it earlier. Maybe we've never really talked about it that much.
no. Well, I also think it debuted around the time I was moving too. There was a lot more shows I know we discussed prior to that.
Did it come out in 2019, 2018, something like that?
That's 2019 sounds about right, especially if I was like a year behind on it. Because
Yeah.
I would have been moving and everything around 2020.
Yeah, because I think some seasons, as you pointed out, I think it has been over a year. It's been a year and a half
Yeah.
at least, right, since the last season. And I think the seasons have mostly been spaced out with a little over a year. So it might have been, even though this is only season 5, it could be that it's been on for like 7 years or something.
Keith, can we get a fact check?
I seriously, Keith, just get
Just
on
kidding, I tell you.
IMDb. Yeah, I wish.
So, I mean, to me, this show at times has a tendency to walk the line between acceptable forms of political humor and just merely taking cheap shots at
Hmm.
only one side and being very eye roll inducing. Uh, I saw a lot of the attempt in those middle season three and season four, and where it kind of mostly came off as neutral, but the shots at the kind of right caricatures of the show seemed a lot more obvious than the shots at the left caricatures of the show.
You know what? I don't see it that way at all. I've kind of seen it from the beginning as definitely one-sided and very, very one-sided. And I know for a fact, so I believe it is produced or executive produced by Seth Rogen, if I'm remembering correctly. But
Really?
the show's creator, yeah, you see his name in the credits. I think he's an executive producer, but um the show's creator, and I forget what his name is, but I've seen behind the scenes things where he definitely has a certain leftist point of view, we'll say, and he models these characters after real political people, and that's very obvious. And a few weeks ago, I saw like an Amazon Prime post that was saying, "Oh, The Boys is coming back for season 5," or it was a trailer or something. And I saw some people in the comments being like, "Well, I'm not interested in watching. It's so woke or something." And you had all these people responding, being like, "Yeah, but it's satire. They make fun of both sides." And I'm like, "Do they though? Because I don't really remember the last joke or thing that I've seen poking fun at the left, because it doesn't really seem to be existent."
Well, I think that, and Hollywood sometimes walks backwards into these things when they make fun of the left. It's usually not super intentional, but I don't know if it's like a subtle writing thing or the actor's just trying to do something natural, and of course it doesn't come off as very left favorable. Uh, but like with the whole Starlight abortion situation, and you had Firecracker, who was obviously intended to be this like super right wing
Right,
traditional woman, and Starlight, but she has this kind of traditional all American girl, type of background, and that's kind of what her fans are. And then her fans kind of turned. It was framed as they kind of turned their back on her after the abortion. So it was like I don't know whether that was kind of the slight at the left, where it's like they kind of lost Starlight, where she was supposed to be the left, protagonist because they obviously are framing Homelander as Trump. So
right.
like, I don't know if it was something like that, and then they kind of flipped the gears with Starlight because it kind of didn't. Those kind of things didn't necessarily make Starlight all out to be the total leftist kind of thing, even though she did get the abortion.
Yeah, and I thinking back on the two episodes that we watched for season 5, I'm just, racking my brain being like, what jokes were there against the left? I don't remember any jokes there were against the left in those two episodes, but the only thing I can think of, and it's not really towards the left, but it's there was a couple like jokes making fun of like TikTok and the kind of people who create on
Yeah.
TikTok and that kind of thing. So that's all I saw. But I mean, TikTok has a pretty good population of both sides. So I wouldn't say that that's a leftist jab or anything at all.
Yeah, and especially when Sage makes her comment about we put out all the disinformation, but it's like that I mean the left will never admit it, but a lot of that comes from the mainstream media.
Exactly. Yeah, I kind of cringed when she said the even when she said the word disinformation, I was kind of like, "Ma
Yeah.
ma,"
But
like not what
I
I want to
guess
hear.
why yeah, I guess why I thought this was a little bit more neutral is that I didn't see any super obvious shots at the right. Like it wasn't like any overt Homelander Trump comparisons that they had gotten used to making before.
Yeah, not in these two episodes. I do sort of feel like these first two episodes, though, were like very, even more so than the past 4 seasons, like extremely anti-patriotic to me, like very extremely. Like
Yeah.
the fact that they had these freedom camps, which they're kind of like poking fun at like concentration camps, and they have
Hmm.
everyone at the camps. It's basically like prison, but they're all like wearing American flag stuff. They have like Homelander on their shirt. Like it
Yeah.
felt kind of icky and gross to me, like the fact that they were making fun of that in such a way.
The camp was very dopey. It's like they're wearing circus uniforms.
Yeah, and it's like it's very like anti-American, very like anti-patriotism, which I didn't like about it.
Yeah. Let's get into the weeds, binge and ginge. What's your one thing?
Um, so it was a little tough for me to try to find something positive. I'll be really
I thought the
honest off the
same
top.
thing. Yeah, I thought
Oh,
the same
okay.
thing.
Oh, wow. So my one thing to watch for, and in my opinion, he wasn't really in it that much for these first two episodes. So I'm like, oh, I hope that's not an indication that they're gonna like freeze him out. But I love the character of Deep, who is played by Chase Crawford. Like he's easy on the eyes, obviously. But I do think that it's especially with Chase Crawford coming from Gossip Girl, which you know nothing about, but he was just like the signature pretty boy in that show. And like that show was basically a nighttime soap as you know, as far as we're concerned. So it's been really funny to when I heard that he was in this show, I was like, really? Because you don't think of a guy like that, a pretty boy doing like this nighttime soap, doing comedy. So I've really kind of enjoyed his character and the way that he plays comedy because I think it's actually really clever what he does. But of course, because he's a I mean, like, what? How would you describe? He's like aquatic. Like, I don't. How do you describe the kind of superhero he is?
Yeah,
Like, what?
aquatic.
He's
Sub
not like he's not a mer
submarine.
person. Yeah, he's aquatic. He's like part he's got like gills, right? So he's like part fish, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, but there's been some weirdness with his character in the past, like weird like aquatic
Fetishes.
sex scenes and yeah. Not gonna go into that, but I was really happy to see him in these first two episodes. To me, he's just the hardcore comedic relief that has nothing to do with politics. You know, they showed a scene in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling it for anybody, but apparently he's like Red and Red in this fifth season, and he has a podcast with Noir. And I thought that little clip was pretty funny with Noir being like the guy who's on like the soundboard, like doing all the crazy noises and sound
Yeah.
effects. And then obviously like Noir doesn't really talk, right? And so I thought it was funny
Well,
that,
the original Noir didn't talk, not the
yeah,
when they when he died and they brought him back.
right, right. So like to have Deep, who's very like, and then they showed these you know, obviously like Vought, they put out products and stuff like that. So they had we'll just say a wellness product that they had an ad for. It's pretty funny. So if you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I thought that was really funny how they were poking fun of like the wellness community. Like that's all fine and good. I thought that that was clever, that was funny, and it doesn't feel political when he's in a scene. So I'm like, please just give us more of that. I want to see more of that. And I'm eager to see the fact that this is the last season. I'm eager to see if he's going to hold his own for the end of the show. Like how is the show going to end? Is he gonna come out on top, or is he kind of gonna be squashed down by Homelander once again? Because you know for a fact that Homelander intimidates him, scares him, and so yeah, I mean he's not as aggressive and violent, and he's just kind of a wacky character, and so I wonder what's gonna how is the show going to end with him? Is he going to get his moment in the spotlight, or is he just going to be like sussed out and crushed by Homelander?
I'd be shocked if he does, and this is such a funny conversation to have because I cannot stand the Deep.
Really?
Yeah, I cannot stand him. I think he's such a wuss bag.
You
Which
don't think it's funny though?
I mean, he's comical, but he's kind of like loser comical. Like I don't even know if I could say lovable loser, but
I was gonna
he's
say,
definitely
you don't think it's lovable loser comical?
no, because I can't respect him because and if I were to sum him up in a word, he's spineless, and I don't know whether that's a deep cut reference because of course he's from the sea and there's a lot of invertebrates that don't have spines. So maybe that's some like deep cut intentional thing, some like super meta reference.
Could
But I
be.
mean, I like every single time he starts to get a little brass balls about him. Homelander just shoots him back down, like get in your hole, bootlicker, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't see for me, like obviously, aside from the first season where he was, assaulting Starlight,
Yeah,
uh I think after that they sort of made him a more light character. They had the whole weird octopus thing. Again, you know what I'm talking about if you've watched the show, but uh I just I like the fact that they've made him in my opinion a lovable loser. I think he's lovable.
I mean, but the other thing is I can't like expect anything out of him because of that. Like I can't expect this like turning of this like turn on a dime, like he's going to be a good guy all of a sudden, like another certain character that we won't spoil in these first couple
Yeah.
episodes. But like I don't expect that from him because I just don't think he has the moral fiber to be that type of character.
And I think that's by design too, though, because similar to how we were talking about last episode about the name of Your Friends and Neighbors, the name of the show being ironic to me. I sort of think it's the same thing with the character The Deep because he's so
He's
shallow.
shallow.
He's the exact opposite of deep, and he's
Yeah,
and that's what's funny is like that's probably why they got this. Like, I think Chase Crawford used to be a model, literally. He used to walk the
yeah.
runway, like kind of like Ashton Kutcher. Ashton Kutcher used to be a model. That's kind of the same world that Chase Crawford comes from. And a lot of models do tend to act and go into acting, but I think that's why they cast such a good looking, like vapid seeming guy in this show in that role because that's what they wanted to convey. Like his character is the deep because he's aquatic. He comes from down under, not the same
Not
as
Australia.
the meaning of our Australian friends, but he comes from, deep under the water, but he's the most shallow, like doesn't have a thought going on upstairs. Like
No,
he's got like a lot of feelings and he like doesn't know where to put them, you know what I mean? Like he's
no.
just kind of a zany lost guy.
Yeah, he's a buffoon.
He's a buffoon. You can say it. I would say buffoon slash lovable loser.
Yeah. Well, for my one thing, I can't say these two characters are buffoons by any stretch of the imagination. I'm going to take this a little bit as a twofer
Okay.
because I'm not sure where they're going with these characters' arcs in this last season, but my interest is very, very piqued here. And I feel like they're trying to add a certain level of depth, to Homelander and to
Mm-hmm.
Starlight, but in completely different directions. So, with Starlight, we're used to seeing this confident young woman, true definition of independence and you go girl, feminism, that sort of thing. And then they try to break her down with that abortion storyline.
Mm.
Um, they and kind of tried, and it seems like as this season has commenced, I'm gonna be careful with my words here not to spoil things, but it feels like there's trying to set certain levels of guilt in her to overbearing nature. So it kind of feels like they're continuing this trend to break down Starlight's confidence and
Mm.
kind of imperviousness to outer influences, that sort of thing.
Right. And I think she's got superpowers. She's a soup. So I think in a way they're really trying to humanize her this season to be like, okay, she is a soup, but she's also got human feelings. She's got guilt. She's got, a complicated relationship with the world. And also, too, I think the fact that the two characters that you're talking about for this segment, it's because in this world of Vought, that Vought runs, in this world, it's sort of you could say it's sort of a bipartisan world where, it's like Homelander is the king of this side, and then you have Starlight, who is the leader or like unspoken leader of this other faction. You know what I'm saying?
I thought you were gonna drop a yes queen in there.
No, I would never.
Yeah, and it's because and I think a lot of that is solidified in the fact that so much of the super because they're not real superheroes. You know, they're kind of grown in the lab and their auras are kind of built on social media. And so much throughout at least the first half of this series was built into, you need to do this, that, and the third to build up your social cred. And oh, you get this many followers, oh, you get that many shares. It's kind of like that's how they built up the reputation of the superheroes. It wasn't from like a Batman or a Superman thing where
Right.
or Spider-Man, where like they got the superheroes got a reputation for actually saving someone or defeating a criminal or putting away a supervillain or something like that. So there's a little bit of to go back to the shallow point. It's not just to me. It's not just with the deep, although it's more pronounced with him. But even as an overall thing with the superheroes as a lot, there's a kind of shallowness to how their egos and gravitas are built up.
Yeah, it's all a PR thing. Like they're raised up like they're a hybrid of content creator and Hollywood. Like they had Homelander, Starlight, A Train, all the soups being featured in movies and pushing them in movies, but then in the same regard, they're like, oh, well, they need to like you as a person in your personal life, and you need to go online and exemplify this behavior. And so, yeah, it is like a very curated appearance. Everything is so appearance driven in this world. And that's also what we see with the two sides pinned against each other, where there's a huge divide, not unlike the divide going on in our country right
Yeah.
now. Not to be somber, but it's there's a huge divide, and that's only exacerbated. I love that word by like this like social media society. Like people going on lives and people dancing and doing their stupid little videos, and how that all jives with what Vought is trying to do to build these soups into characters.
to the point where the soups in their current roles feel like fish out of water, square pegs and round holes, because they're actually in this serious context now where it's like a soup civil war and society actually is pitted against each other as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
before where they were just skin deep, very fascia type of depthness to them.
Yeah. And it's funny to me that because we were just talking about the deep, you're, using all these cliches and metaphors that are like aquatic related and it's top of mind
Like
for us, I guess.
it's like 70% unintended.
Okay.
It just kind of happens, and I just go with it. All right.
All right.
So, with Homelander, though, there's always been this kind of soft underbelly to him. Like he puts out this big, boastful persona, but he doesn't have a lot of he doesn't have a lot of substance to him. Like it's
Mm.
very easy to see when he's in a weaker moment. I mean, sometimes they kind of portray it a little creepy, but like to me, it feels like this final season they wanted to put an element of regret and sadness to him, and like I don't know if what they've built up over 4 seasons, if this is a last ditch effort to humanize Homelander.
Yeah, but to your point, it's like the fact that they've made him such a savage, terrible person these last four seasons. It's like, is is it possible to have redemption for even those kind of people? I'm kind of questioning whether that's doable or whether that's going to work if that's what they're setting this up as. Like, how does
Yeah.
someone who is so absolutely terrible just change, you know?
Well, I think because that's how they've kind of had these moments of weakness, even if it's done in kind of a weird way, these moments of weakness for him to kind of subconsciously put seeds in your brain that there's this like, weakling deep underneath all these terrible actions that he takes.
Yeah, I mean it's the same, it's like that, it's sort of a trope, I guess, where you have these guys who are doing terrible things or men who are doing terrible things. And the reason that they're doing it is because of the scared little boy inside them or something that happened for their
Yeah.
childhood or what have you. So I think maybe that's what the route they're trying to go. But I don't know. I'm sort of like, are we really going to do this though? Like, is everyone redeemable? Even Homelander? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, and even if he was, it would be hard to feel bad for him because he's
Right.
not. He's also this, despite how his social credibility is built up, his character is not likable.
Yeah, and that's an understatement for sure. And
Yeah.
I think for me, even yeah, the character of Homelander, and there are a few others to be quite honest. There's a few other characters that I cannot stand. So I mean, not to say that there aren't people to root for, because there are. You know, you have the whole other gang with Huey and Frenchie and Kimiko and Billy Butcher, and like I guess you would root for those people, but there are a lot of there's quite a few Joffreys out there, we'll call them. You know, the characters you just like are like, oh, I can't wait until they die, or I can't wait until there's justice against them because they are so terrible.
Yeah. And that could be a whole nother topic for another day, but we do need to render the verdict. Should people watch this final stanza of The Boys?
Oh, geez. So so this is a show that my husband and I have watched since the beginning. So I almost kind of feel obligated to finish it, but I don't really think, even just watching these two episodes today, I mean, granted, I had a migraine, so there was that, but uh, for me, there was just like I was very distracted. There was a lot of eye rolling. I don't feel as much into it as I used to be. Even like thinking about last season, I don't remember being extremely into it. And part of that had to do with the fact that, yes, it's based on a comic, and I did not read the comic, so I don't have any allegiance to it in that way. But when they do things to take creative liberties to change things from the way that the comics were, I just don't think it's the best decision, because with that whole
Right.
arc with Frenchie being bisexual and him having a relationship with Colin, I think the guy was, I just like that's another eye rolling thing. Like if Frenchie is straight in the comics, then like why would you make him bisexual? And I really sort of think not going to give anything away, but it does seem like maybe there was some backlash. And I know that I did see those comments back when the season 4 was airing, that people were upset that the relationship with Kimiko went platonic all of a sudden. And then they're like, why is he bisexual and with this guy? Like he's supposed to be with Kimiko. Like they were building that up to be a
Ugh.
thing. And then all of a sudden
Yeah.
they're like, oh no, we think of each other as friends. Like what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
so I think,
Representation gone wrong.
yeah. So you know what? I think that there was probably a decent amount of backlash and they heard that for this season. And so Frenchie is magically straight again.
Yeah. Let's walk it back, walk it back, walk it back. I thought these two episodes, and it was surprising. We were both a bit thrown off that it was two episodes and not three. We were pretty sure that it was three
Right.
episodes at one point. But in any event, I thought it was a little bit of a slow burn. Like they're putting a lot of pieces in there, and I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's by design to kind of keep some guessing game going. They don't want to give too much away. They don't want to build up too much of which characters are going to perish and which ones are going to keep going. Um,
Mm.
but in any event, I wasn't particularly bored. I wasn't doom scrolling. I wasn't eye rolling too much. I mean, I kind of just I kind of just notch things up to this is Hollywood and that's what they do. Um, but I'm still be in it enough to kind of close the chapter and see how these heroes and anti-heroes close out this the story.
Yeah. And I think I'll definitely finish it. It's just I don't know that I might kind of have one foot in, one foot out where I'm like, I'm watching this, but I'm like I'm not loving it. But um but yeah, I'm curious to see how they end it. Like, is this going to be one of those historically great endings? Is it going to be a historically bad ending? Because to that point, we know that people have talked about the historically bad or historically divisive endings. Like, I literally saw a post about the Sopranos ending last week. That was 25 years ago. So
Yeah,
that's just a
what's
testament
with
to the
that?
fact that when you're ending a show, like it could all make or break the legacy of that show. So we'll see what the legacy of the show is.
Well, hopefully you think we've got a decent legacy to this show. And if you enjoy listening, we'd very much appreciate a 5-star review. Let us know what you think of each episode. Hit follow or subscribe because we're at the mercy of when shows release. That's the best way to find out when we drop an episode. Next up, season 1 of The Beef kind of took the world by storm,
Mm.
and I never thought that it would come back for an encore, but it's doing so in a rather White Lotus or True Detective kind of way. Brand new cast of characters. Carey Mulligan and Oscar Isaac take over for Stephen Young and Ali Wong. So it's a little bit of a star power with a fresh story coming into an otherwise successful track record.
Yeah, I haven't really I know there was a trailer out, but I kind of didn't watch it. So I'm gonna be surprised, but I really like Carey Mulligan. And I want to say, I can't remember, but I want to say that there were one or two other actors advertised as being in this that I was kind of like, oh, okay. Okay. I'm like a
Yeah.
little excited about that. And I can't remember who it was, but I feel like there were some supporting characters. And Oscar Isaac, he was the one from Frankenstein, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he's great too. So I'm looking forward to seeing this new season.
He's excited. I'm excited. Until that next real review, Red and Red signing out.